Well, Wolf, I can tell you from my perspective, it's completely the opposite. It's getting better. And just let me give you a little indication of that. I arrived here 9 months ago, and the training that we were doing was frankly not particularly good. The numbers we were processing through the system were not very high, and I didn't think we were going to make the mission. General Bill Caldwell arrived and brought in a lot of resource with him, and things have changed enormously. As a result of that, we have over doubled the capacity of the Army. And so that to give you an example, we've got up to about 70,000 men a year we train now. And more importantly than that, the quality has improved significantly. And I think that's the thing that has really struck me, that when I arrived here, I didn't think we'd have a chance of doing it. Since General Bill Caldwell's arrived, there's been a complete transformation of what we're doing. In fact, we're ahead of track at the moment. And it's that makes me think we're going to be successful. Well, Wolf, that's what's going on down in the fighting area. What I can tell you about is what we're doing to make sure that the Afghan army is built up so that they're able to take this on their own. And we're doing remarkable things. The quality of the Afghans has really increased. We've introduced all sorts of new measures, such as tests before they come into the army, tests throughout their training. We have independent validation before they leave, and that's not validation done by me. It's done by an external agency to make sure they're up to the standard. So the Afghan army is progressing, and more importantly, I think, than that, is that we're now starting to develop what are called the branch schools, and that's those other capabilities which an army needs to grow. So at the moment, the army is really infantry. And so what we're doing is we're building in the logistics, the engineering, the signals, the military police, all those other things that are needed so that by October 11, this will be a balanced force. And of course, at the moment, it's not balanced. Well, Wolf, I can't answer on what is going on down in the south because my business is the training, but I can tell you that we have increased production of the training substantially. So when I arrived here 9 months ago, it was about 30,000 a year. We're now producing 70,000 recruits a year. So if there is a shortage, it's being remedied very, very quickly. Well, you're asking me a question outside my lane, but I can tell you that when they've left the training base, they're then partnered by NATO forces, and that's good for both the Afghans and for us. And so that partnering does work. But I can really tell you about the training base and what we're doing to improve both the quantity and the quality so that this army is able to operate on its own. And it's a real success story. And whatever else you might be hearing on the news, what is happening here is quite phenomenal, and it is working. And that, I think, is the key thing, because as you will probably be aware, that is General McChrystal's strategic main effort to make sure this army is grown and capable. Okay, well, the army that's growing at the moment is only infantry, and that'll be the case until October this year. From October this year to October next year, we're growing all those other specialities, such as the logistics, engineers and signals. And so by October 11, there will be a balanced force. Meanwhile, in the training base, they will, over time, become more independent of us. So at the moment, we're doing both training and advising. As time goes by, that role will change, and we will cease to do the training and just go on to the advising role, till eventually we just do the observing role. And I would expect, based on what I've seen so far, that by October 11, some of our trainers will be just doing the advising piece rather than training, because the Afghan training system is stepping up to the plate. Now, what I'm telling you is that in the training base, the Afghans will take a greater role in the training as time progresses, because what we're doing at the moment is we're developing their trainers so they're able to do more training themselves, and we can do less training and more advising of them. And so from the training perspective, they will become better and better. And of course, each individual school that we run has its own dynamics. So if I can just give you an example, in the NCO training that is going on, they have a really strong NCO team doing the training, and our guys are doing less training and more advising right now. In other schools, we're not there yet. After all, there are 14 different schools we're standing up now, and we've got most of them stood up, and another 3 during this month. And of course, that means we're just starting to train the trainer on those people, because we've got to make a balanced force. Well, of course, you're asking me a question well outside my remit, to be honest. I can tell you that whenever President Karzai comes to one of the training establishments, and he was recently at the National Military Academy of Afghanistan, which is the Afghan equivalent to West Point, it was a rapturous reception from all of the cadets who were just overjoyed to see their president, and there's no doubt about it that the military officers there have the highest regard for their president. Wolf, thank you very much indeed. I think if there's one message for all your audience is that whatever else they might hear, the Afghan army is growing and growing fast and with quality. And so actually, in my view, it's a pretty bright future. Much better than I would have thought when I arrived here 9 months ago. And I put that largely down to General Caldwell getting the trainers that we need to deliver the product. Thank you very much indeed.